my name is Alex Richards and welcome to The People Behind the Party, hosted by us here at the Birthday Party Network. Today on our show, I'm joined by Satvinder from SKB, an insurance broker with a personal touch. Find out a little bit about how she ended up in insurance, why birthday companies need it, and actually when is it worth claiming for a broken piece of equipment. Well, welcome, Satvinder, to the People Behind
Alex.
the Party.
Thank you.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I am Satvinder Breeze. I own SKB Independent Insurance Brokers, and we are based in the West End of Edinburgh. We are independent insurance brokers, so we focus primarily on looking after a lot of business insurance, but we also do other things like home insurance and private car, travel, private healthcare, life insurance, that sort of thing. So yeah, we are, in terms of our team, there's 5 of us.
Okay.
There's myself. I own and manage it all from
the chaos.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it does get a bit chaotic in there. Husband is a director as well, James. He sort of comes in and out and deals with things like design, business cards,
Okay.
a few networking events, all the stuff that I don't have the time to do, like when the computer stopped working and yeah, sort this out, please. So we have Matt Dabrowski. He is our business development manager. Joined us a few weeks ago. He's got some great ideas. He's from New York. Yeah. Great personality. We've got Tracy Andrews, who is the life and soul of the business in terms of servicing. She's brilliant. She just gets down and gets everything done. Brilliant level of client service. We have Jackie Twist about to join us in a couple of weeks.
Amazing.
So yeah, we're growing and it's good fun.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. Well, to state the obvious, you're obviously not a kid's birthday party company.
We are not. No, we are a supplier.
You are a
to
supplier.
kids'
Yeah.
birthday party.
So we just thought it would be really fun to have this conversation because
Yeah.
obviously insurance in the birthday party industry is such a important important role. So we'll get
Definitely.
onto the insurance bit a bit later because it's all a bit
Sure.
we'll get there. But yeah, so just do you want to tell us a little bit about kind of how you'll start, because insurance is a funny one. Like, how do you even get into that? I don't know many people who were like, when they were growing up, was like, I'm going to set up an insurance.
I don't know anyone who was growing up thinking, I want a career in insurance. Many of us fall into it.
Okay.
And to be honest, for the first 4 years of my insurance career, I was an underwriter. And there was nothing more brain-numbingly boring than being an underwriter. It's for a lot of people. Definitely not for me. And I spent a long time trying to get out of insurance at that point. I don't know why I ended up in it. All I needed to do was to be taken by the shoulders and facing the right direction into broking, because as soon as I got into broking, that was me. I was off. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
I didn't know who I was going to meet from one day to the next. There were so many interesting people. And more than that, what I absolutely adored about it was being able to do something, help people run their businesses, giving them the right advice, making sure when a claim occurred that we were on board to help them with it. And I guess somewhere along the line, that passion started to become a bit sort of shadowed by working for a lot of bigger companies who had their own ways of being successful.
Yeah.
I began to find that I was just another number. The clients were just another number. And it was a case of the bottom line profitability.
Yeah.
So client service levels were dropping and was going from one company to another. And I thought something is missing. And the part that really got to me was being told that this client only pays £200 a year, so you don't go out and see them. And I wanted to do something to change that.
Yeah.
And it was when I was away on holiday in 2012 in July, and I was just going through some different thought processes in my mind. I thought maybe now is a good time. And we just bought a house, so my husband's like, really? But he's great. He's a massive support for me. My daughter's a massive support as well. And so pretty much decided as soon as I got back that that's what I was going to do. So off I went. started doing all the bits and pieces that were needed. I spoke to various different companies about the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the easiest and most cost efficient route in, because setting up an insurance practice can be quite expensive.
Okay.
Joining an existing network as an appointed rep made it a lot easier.
Okay.
A lot of the costs were covered, and I paid a subscription. So that's how I got my foot in the door in having my own business. A few years later, we became completely independent.
Okay.
And that's how we did it. And just got my business cards made up. James went out, my husband, and got some second-hand office furniture. Started off in the spare room at home.
Yeah.
And here we are. We're doing okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing okay. What I did was, and I just started to knock on the doors of local businesses, introducing myself. This is what we're doing. This is what we can do in terms of bringing back that traditional way. What was it? The human element, bringing the human element back into providing insurance. So we're brokers. We're not an insurance company. We're right in the middle, and we're the ones that go out and see the clients and provide the advice and tailor the best insurance covers depending on what the businesses do. So that's what makes it exciting, and I really, really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So just because there's a few words I don't even understand.
Yeah.
So you've got your underwriter is a what?
An underwriter is someone who works for an insurance company.
Okay.
An insurance company is where the policy is produced and provided.
Okay.
The broker is in the middle. The insurance policy is provided by the insurance company through the broker and to the client.
Okay. And so could a small little birthday party company go directly to an insurance company?
Well, there are some insurers that have developed direct arms of their business to deal with the public directly. But when it comes to something as niche and specialist as having a birthday party company, you're better off speaking with a broker, because the insurance companies would take instructions from the client directly.
Okay.
They would say, what cover do you need? Well, the client may not necessarily know what cover they need.
Yeah.
And that's the job of a broker.
Yeah. Okay. So what does your general day look like then as a broker?
It's crazy. It's really full on. So every day is different. What normally happens is we get inquiries in from new clients who have come to us as referrals from existing clients, and we will sit down with them, go through what their needs are, put risk profiles together and go out to the market and get quotes in. Alongside that, we'll maybe have some clients who are reporting new claims. So then, again, we'll have a chat with them, find out what's gone wrong, talk over the insurance cover. Is it likely that a claim would be paid, or do we need to refer it to insurers? So there's that part of the day.
Okay.
There's also the servicing part. This is the most important part. Clients could come to us and want to make changes to their policies. They may have a different set of circumstances and they want to sit down and talk about it.
Yep.
So we're very much hands-on that way. It's not a case where, well, we don't have the time, or you have to speak to someone else, or we don't operate that way. I think that's what's made us so successful. It's right, okay, let's have a chat.
Yeah.
What is it you're thinking? And we kind of like to be part of our client's business journey as well, because it's such a personal thing. And setting up your own business isn't for everyone, but the most important part is having that panel of the right suppliers in your pocket that you can turn to and say, right, something's happening in my business. What do I do? What do you think I should do from an insurance point of view? So have I answered your question? Oh, we also get a crazy barrage of emails.
Okay.
and it can be, we have days where we're firefighting.
Yeah.
But there's also networking as well. We do a lot of networking. We attend events. We like to support the community. So there's a lot of different things that we've got in the pipeline at the moment. In the past, we've provided donations to various different charities. We've, brain's gone blank.
Loads of different things there. But
Yeah.
busy. Yeah. So it sounds like a lot of it is just constantly trying to keep up with hundreds of different people coming in,
And their
getting stuff
demands.
out, coming back in,
Absolutely.
changing it, going back in. Because I know ourselves, we use SKB, and we're constantly coming to you being like, we've got this new idea.
Yeah.
Can you check it
Yeah.
out? And then you're like, oh, don't do that.
Yeah.
no one will take that.
No, but your ideas are really exciting. They're great. Yeah, it's all about taking the business forward, and
Yeah.
we'd love to be part of that.
Yeah. I think that probably the common thought from most people is that going through a broker is more expensive because you have broker fees and all
Yeah.
of that. Do you want to talk a bit about how
Yeah,
the
of
money
course.
side works?
Yeah, of course. It's really not that. It's really not that bad, especially when you're setting up a business for the first time and the cash flow isn't there. We support as much as possible. So the great thing about us being independent is we've got access to over 90 different insurance companies.
Yeah.
It gives us an advantage to seek out the best deal. And what we do is we first of all match up what the cover is. What is your business? How do you run it? How many people do you employ? Who are you dealing with? And we will then go out to the market, find the best deal after putting together the best risk profile. What I mean by that is making a list of all the different covers and putting all the supporting information against all those different covers so that the insurance markets understand what type of policy we're looking for
So
our client.
a cover, is that like the party type you do or the kind of insurance you need?
The kind of insurance you need.
Okay.
And there are lots of different types of insurance that you will find under one bespoke insurance policy. Yeah. Let's take, for example, the beautiful example, which is the most relevant. Someone wants to set up a birthday party company. They would need to consider a few different types of insurance. There's the public liability, there's their equipment, there's employer's liability. But I can go into that in a little bit more detail when you want to get into the nitty-gritty of the insurance.
Yeah. No worries.
Yeah. This is the one thing that I would probably err on the side of caution when it comes to advising new business owners and existing business owners, where if they feel that they are better off going online to find an insurance policy for their business, I would say, well, be careful, because this is where it may look great on paper, the premium may be really low, and you think, I'm sorted, I can do this, I can arrange more insurance. When claims occur, a lot of the clients that come to us bought a policy online and they didn't know what they were buying.
Okay.
Having a broker isn't just about going for the cheapest policy. You need to get the right advice, and it's a bit of a minefield when it comes to buying insurance for your business. Don't get me wrong, if you're buying car insurance, you just need to stick to a few simple rules and you're fine. Go online. That's where all the best deals are.
Yeah.
Home insurance, yes, similarly. It's the same sort of approach. However, when it comes to a business, the needs are a lot more complex. And I would say to people, if you're thinking about buying a policy online, come and talk to us first. You might be pleasantly surprised that it's not as expensive as you think.
Yeah.
In terms of the premiums being a bit higher, they will be slightly higher because there is a broker commission built into that, which isn't a huge amount. It's between 15 and 20%. But we also get policies that are heavily discounted because we will deal with one insurance company in particular, and they know that a big chunk of this type of business we would trade with them. So that bulk buying will allow us to negotiate discounts. So that helps. That's in the client's favour. As for broker fees, we charge only minimal broker fees that would cover things like admin and the cost of setting up a policy. So that can be between £10 and £50 depending on the admin involved.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not a huge amount for what clients get in return in terms of value and service to go and speak to a broker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when we first set up, we just Googled it online.
Right.
We started with airsoft,
Yeah.
which is like BB guns,
Yeah.
like similar to paintball. And obviously that's like a really random, quite a big market. I guess there's lots of companies out there that do that. But again, like we didn't have a clue what we were doing. We went out and said, this is what we also built our own inflatable building, which sounds
No way.
So the
How did you get insurance for that?
The original concept was we wanted to be able to do airsoft anywhere.
Right.
But obviously you can't just shoot BB guns around anywhere because like they put holes in plasterboard and stuff. So I thought, well, if I could build an inflatable building that I could go in and set up in places, and then you could go inside it and then shoot, then it would contain it all.
Yeah.
So I bought, I think, about £4,000 worth of stuff, which was like ripstock nylon,
Okay.
a massive tarpaulin. It was 18 by 9 meters, so it was massive. It was massive.
Big. Yeah.
It took me 90 hours, and I sewed the thing together, and we built this massive inflatable building, and you could go inside and do airsoft in it. It was fantastic.
Awesome.
And then I would go to the insurers, and I was like, "So they're like,
This
where
is
did you
what-
buy it?" And they're
Yeah.
like, I was like, "Well, I made it," and they're like, right. And so how does it work? I'm like, well, you just shove a big fan in it and it just inflates. I'm like, right. And I just was, you know what? We never actually used it.
Yeah.
I built the thing. It cost a fortune. It was how we all started. So it's sort of like, I still have it. Like it's still my baby, but
Yeah.
I'm like, we've never used it commercially ever because the insurance company, I just had no confidence in their understanding of what it was.
Did they ask you questions like, what is the material made of? Is it fire resisting?
Yeah, there was lots of stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was like, I don't know. I
Okay.
ordered it online. So
Did someone offer to come out and have a look at it?
no.
Because that probably would have helped a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So I think, and you know, we were dealing with a big company down in London somewhere because we just Googled it and took the top Google ad because I was like, well, I don't know. You know, it wasn't a broker. Well, it was a broker, but I guess they were down south. And again,
Yeah.
similar, big company, just a number. You know, they're looking at me being like, this idea is stupid and crazy.
Yeah.
It'll never work probably. And we're not, you know, and they gave me a quote and I can't remember how much it was. I think it was about £1,000, I think, for it, which, I mean, again, I didn't know if that was good value.
Okay.
Like I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also had no confidence in the fact that if anything actually happened,
Yes.
whether they would then come and look at it and be like, oh, we're not
We're
insuring
not
that.
insuring that. Yeah. And that's after the event. That's after you need to make a claim,
Exactly,
which puts you in a
exactly.
really difficult position.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think for us, you know, when we got introduced to you, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, it was.
All of a sudden having someone come in and say, okay, Alex, like, what do you exactly have? Okay, and what exactly is that? And can you send me a picture? And having someone who really understood what we were doing and why we were doing it and how we were doing it made such a massive difference.
Yeah.
And it gave us confidence knowing that we could operate operate that piece of equipment safely.
Exactly.
You know, I know
Yeah.
that with our hoverboards, for example,
Yeah.
you know, like trying to explain what a hoverboard is to
Yeah.
a random person on the phone.
Yeah.
You're like, well, Google it. And then like, is it a Segway? You're like,
Yeah.
no,
Not
it's
exactly.
kind of like a Segway.
Yeah.
Whereas for you, I was like, this is what it is. This
Yeah.
is how it does. And you were able to,
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
build all that in and
Do what was needed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what we love doing. Yeah. So glad we were able to help.
Yeah. So I think it just goes to show that even if, and I don't even think when we signed up with you, I think our fees went up a tiny bit compared to
Okay.
what we were paying the year before. But
Right.
I'm talking maybe 100 quid, 150
Okay.
extra.
Okay.
But again, I could ring you at any time.
Yeah.
You were there.
Yeah.
I wasn't put into a big call center and they were like, who are you with? And then you
Yeah.
get transferred through.
That's
and,
right.
You know, and,
Yeah.
and they're not really sure what you're asking and
No.
all these things. Whereas all of a sudden it was like, oh, I could
Yeah.
email you and you'd email me back the next day
Yeah.
or the same day.
That's
or,
it.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
this is so much easier.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And we want to change the insurance world bit by bit just by providing that sort of service.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. Thank you because it's been a
That's
massive
all right.
help for us.
That's
so,
okay.
So let's talk a little bit more then about like the
Sure.
nitty gritty of kind
Righty-ho.
of the insurancy stuff because
Okay.
I think a lot of our listeners will have insurance in place
Yeah.
if they're operating a birthday party company, but a lot of them are maybe looking to move or
Yeah.
did what I did at the beginning, just book it online and have
Yeah.
just kept it going and
Yeah.
not really have a clear understanding. So, you know, what does insurance do? I know that sounds stupid, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, What exactly is the point of a birthday party company having it?
Okay, from the perspective of the birthday party company, the client, it is about protecting the business, protecting many parts of the business, and also how the business operates, and if there is any sort of liability or allegation made against them for the way they run their business, and if they've caused any injury or any damage to property that doesn't belong to them. I'll give you an example. Let's say there is a birthday party that's been arranged, and let's take combat archery, and what happens is someone has the equipment that's needed, the bow section, and there is everything's been checked before the party took place, and all the proper planning had been done. The risk assessments had been carried out. Everything is complete, and this party is ready to go. We've got a whole bunch of kids that are excited. They're trying something new, and they can't wait to have some fun. And then what happens is a kid picks up a piece, let's say the bow part. Is that right?
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then all of a sudden, even though that item had been checked, it snaps. The string element comes off and causes some damage to his eye. Now, that's an accident. That's something that is out with that business owner's control, and that's precisely what insurance is designed to do. You have an angry parent and you have a hurt child, and the first thing is to make sure that the child is okay. So the parent will take care of that. And then a few weeks later, you get a letter from the parent's lawyers. We want to make a claim against your ABC birthday party, because our child was injured. So what happens then is the insurance company would step into the process, carry out an investigation, deal with the solicitors using their own in-house legal team, or they would appoint a legal team. All of that costs money, a lot of money, as soon as you start talking about lawyers. And the insurance company pay for the whole thing, including the legal costs. There may be a small policy excess of about £250, which is tiny compared to the size of the claim. Nothing may come of it. The child's eye may just be swollen or bruised, but he or she is absolutely fine. There's no damage to eyesight. But this is what insurance is all about, the what if. What if that child did lose their eyesight? That's it. They're going to have issues in terms of their just living a normal life for the rest of their life. The size of that potential claim could be enormous. And again, the insurance company would pay that out. So that's why it's a scary example, but things like this do happen. And so that's probably the biggest part, the most important part of making sure that the insurance is correctly arranged. There's a smaller part of it. You could, let's say you have about 25 of these combat archery kits. That's a lot of money, a good few £1,000s, is that right?
Or at least,
Right, okay. So if someone breaks into your storage unit and steals them all, then that's a huge dent in cash flow to have to replace it all, and you've got a party on the next day. So again, the insurance company is about stepping into that process and dealing with the claim and providing that cash lump sum to enable you to go out and replace your stock or your equipment. So that's the importance of it. Have I answered your question?
You have. Okay. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, so I think...
I can talk about insurance until the cows come.
I bet you can.
I can give you hundreds of examples. Sorry if I'm boring you.
No, not at all. This is what we're here to talk about. So yeah, I think you covered kind of... This is from my ignorance here. I'm guessing you covered public liability insurance,
I have,
which would be the kid hurting himself under no fault of kind of the operator.
Yes.
And you've covered their like damage and theft insurance.
That's right.
What
Your
would that
own
be?
equipment.
Yeah. So
property.
There's two kinds of insurance there. Are there any others that you just want to cover briefly?
Yeah, there's another two, and the third one is the employer's liability, which is similar to public liability. It's about loss or damage to property, third-party property or injury. However, with employer's liability, if you've hired a member of staff to come out to a birthday party with you and they are injured, let's say they're standing next to the kid who's pinged and it takes their eye out, they've been injured during the course of their employment.
Okay.
And the insurance company would step in and deal with the claim and pay out compensation to the employee.
Okay, so public liability would cover the children, the children,
the parents, anyone in the vicinity who is not related in the business.
Okay. And employer's insurance covers your employees?
Your employees or your casual temporary employees.
Okay.
You could have a school leaver doing some work experience. It would cover them automatically. Anyone that you have hired to help you out with that particular party.
Okay, great. And what was the other one?
The other one is events insurance, which is it's a nice one to have, particularly if you're dealing with an event involving a lot of people. And there's lots of different parts to the event. It may apply to birthday parties depending on the type. If you have arranged a high level, really expensive birthday party event with lots of different activities, there is a venue that's required. There's a lot of that. It sort of brings a few different things into the mix in terms of what could go wrong. And events insurance would cover things like the event having to be cancelled because of bad weather, or if the venue had some sort of sudden or unforeseen
like
interruption, a flood.
Yeah.
And it would cover that sort of thing. It would also cover all of the costs, the deposits that you would have had to pay out for the venue or caterers or anything else involved. And so there's a loss of income. So that loss of income would be protected as well. And also you can get other liability covers like the public and products liability, the employer's liability. That can all be done under one policy. Those we would look at for an event where there's going to be a lot of people. And
like thousands.
Yeah. Hundreds.
Okay, so even that size. Yeah.
For birthday parties, for in people's homes, I wouldn't worry too much about events insurance, but it is there. Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting because I guess we've done some larger events. And there's been one-offs. I know we've come to you. We tried to do some stuff with the National Trust.
That's right.
And they wanted specific event insurance in place. That was kind of an interesting one for us to be like, oh, we've never come across this. And again, you were like, this is what this does. And I'm like, oh, right. Didn't even know that existed.
So, it is there. But it may not be relevant to the general birthday party company who wants to provide that service to for children in their own homes.
Okay, great. And so for sole trader and limited companies, and is there a difference, or do you need insurance whether...
You need insurance whether you are a sole trader, a limited company, a partnership. If you are dealing with the public, especially when it comes to kids, if you're hiring staff. When it comes to hiring staff, employer's liability is the only insurance that you need under UK law in terms of running a business. There's also motor insurance. So motor and employer's liability are the only two insurances in the UK that you have to have under UK law. But everything else is there to protect the business.
So technically, you wouldn't need to operate with public liability insurance.
That's correct.
Is that right?
That's correct.
If something happens, you're screwed.
Yes, absolutely. You would need to have a lot of money in your bank account, and you can't always plan You don't know. With the most meticulous of planning, careful management, things can still go wrong. And that's what insurance is there to do, just to protect that.
Yeah. And if you're a sole trader, that's obviously coming out of your house mortgage, you're putting your house up, things
absolutely.
like that.
Yep.
If you're a limited company, are you in somewhat kind of protected a little bit more?
Well, that's a really good question. Well, in terms of your own personal assets, you are protected.
Okay.
However, if your business doesn't have the funds to pay out for a public liability compensation claim and the legal costs that come with it, that in itself you may have your accountant saying you may have to liquidate this company. And then you've got that against your business record. Yeah. So I would, and a public liability insurance policy for a small business, it costs about £250 a year. It's a tiny cost in comparison to what you get back for it, that peace of mind.
Yeah. Because I think that's again, we operated initially for the first 2 years, I think, as a sole trader, and I was young and didn't have anything anyway. So I was like, well, if they've got nothing to take. So I was like, you can come take whatever you want. But, so it's funny. But then, as you progress and you build, you start want to protect some of your own personal assets. And then, and I think insurance is just one of those absolutely kind of no-brainers, isn't it? It's like,
it is. I know a lot of people may feel that, why do I need insurance? It's a necessary evil. It's not a necessary evil because it pays out. I've come across claims where thousands, six-figure sums have been paid out by insurers without quibble. That's what you pay your premiums for. So, it definitely has its place in a business.
Yeah. So I want to set up an example to see if insurance would cover this.
Go for it.
So we have our large teepees. So we set up our big teepees outside, which obviously but when we first got them, as with almost everything when we first get, we normally ruin the first one.
Okay.
Because we just don't know how to look after it. We don't know how to care for it. So very quickly you learn, you learn after you wreck your first one. So one of our big teepees cost about 600 quid. We at the beginning thought, it doesn't matter if it stays wet. We'll just wrap it up wet. Probably it'll be fine. Obviously it wasn't. And the mold wrecked it. Within, 3 or 4 months, we were having to buy a new one. We were like, right, well, we've learned a valuable lesson.
Yes.
You have to dry them out.
Yes.
Which seems obvious. And was obvious, but you just get lazy anyway. So in that circumstance where it was sort of, we bought something which was relatively expensive, is it worth coming to an insurance company and being like, I ruined a 400 quid TP, geez, my money?
It is. It
really?
is.
Okay.
Yes, but you'd be facing a lot of questions because the first thing insurers would say is, right, what have you done to it? What we would do as your broker is put in a claim for accidental damage. Okay. That's the first thing we would do. They would then come back, and this is where it might get a bit challenging. They would say, did you follow the manufacturer's storage instructions, care instructions? And that's where there's this big question mark. So it's like, Alex, what did you do to the TP? Why didn't you dry it? And so, but we would dispute it because we like challenges. We may or may not win that one.
Yeah.
What I would say is just check the instructions.
That's right.
But we would start off by putting in a claim for accidental damage because it was an accident. Sort of.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I mean, again, like we've had similar, like the projectors we use within our cinemas are worth about £1,000 each. We're always like, we've never broken one ever, which is crazy. We've had them for 4 years. We have 6 of them that go out almost. I know. Yeah. They go out almost every weekend. And I always think, if one broke, would it be worth claiming? Because I'm just like, by the time your policy, all the hassle with you guys, by the time you pay the excess, by the time you then end up for the next however many years, you have to say that you've. Because how long does something like that sit on your record?
Around 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. So I'm like, another 3 to 5 years, it's just probably not worth it.
I know.
So is that true?
It's definitely worth a chat.
Okay.
It is, because every business is different. If if you've only been trading for a couple of months, the cash flow may not be there, but the equipment's been damaged. And policy excess, let's say policy excess is £250 or £150, depending on that, you may need to put a claim in. And it's a case of, look, just being really careful in future. However, if the equipment costs thousands, I would say definitely put a claim in. If it was maybe just a small part of it, and that part's easily replaceable, and it costs less than £200, there's no point putting a claim in. It's going to be under the excess anyway. If it was just a little bit over the excess, £50, that's not worth putting it in. If cash flow is really tight, come and talk to us. We'll always see what we can do. But I would say that it depends on the individual circumstances of the business. But it's always worth having a chat.
And again, that's the advantage of having a broker.
Absolutely.
Because you can just ring you up and say, this is what's happened.
Exactly. And that's just having that dialogue could actually save so much hassle. Because if you went to the insurers directly, then they would say, do you want to put a claim in? And you'd be like, well, I don't know. Can I chat about it? And they would set up a claim record, but you may decide a few weeks down the line that you don't need to make the claim after all. Big chunk of business has just come in. It's buffered the cash flow. So you can replace that equipment easily without worrying about it. But then that claim's going to sit on the record just by thinking about having that discussion with the insurers. They set up a claim and then they might load the policy up come the next renewal. We get to control that process as a broker.
Yeah. See, that again is just... like
the things that you don't think about.
Exactly.
But that's what we're here for.
When you set up, you're like, you don't know what you don't know, and you just kind of kind of go in for it. So that's super interesting.
Okay.
So if I was launching a birthday party company tomorrow, your classic, either I was going out and renting stuff in people's homes, so like mini teepees, I know those are going, we've got them, they're becoming super popular. So if I was setting up one of those businesses tomorrow and I came to you and said, Satvinder, I need you to sort me out with insurance. I'm going to turn over maybe £15,000 this year. It's just going to be me. I'm going to use my own car. I've got maybe £3,000, £4,000, £5,000 worth of stuff. What would you be saying, Alex? These are the things you need to have in place.
I would say first and foremost, Alex, you need public liability insurance. The cost will be low because the turnover is going to be nice and low to start off with, but we would then go out and find that deal for you. As for anything else, we would first of all make sure that the public liability is in place, but there's legal expenses included as well.
Okay.
And we would also have a chat about anything else that you might be wanting to do. Things like you want to buy some new equipment. Okay, you're hiring the equipment. Are you responsible for insuring the equipment as your agreement with the hiring company? So where does that lie? Find out where you stand there, because if you're responsible for it but it's not insured, then and if something goes wrong with it, then it could be pretty much on your shoulders to pay out the cost. So, and we'd also ask you about things like, are you going to be doing all the parties all by yourself? Are you thinking about bringing in casual staff? Then if that's the case, and you are,
like your brother, would that be a casual staff person?
Your brother's not going to sue you unless he really hates you.
That's a good point. Yeah, I guess.
In that case, you may want to consider employer's liability insurance.
My brother worked for me for a few years, so I've been there.
So that sort of thing. And that's it. To be honest, we wouldn't start throwing covers at you knowing that you don't need them and they're going to cost a lot and you're just setting up in business. That's simply not fair. It's about supporting you and making sure that the essential stuff's in place, but not overkill.
Yeah. And so an average, I know it's difficult because it's so subjective, so I totally understand that. But, you're saying your 250, 350 mark is probably where you're looking at.
Yeah, that's right.
For the peace of mind knowing
for the
that.
year.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's not, for the peace of mind to know that it's sorted.
Exactly.
It's not
exactly.
much, is it?
No, it's not at all. There's things that you'd need to be careful of, that you've got the right procedures in place, like the templates for all the risk assessments. And if you are hiring staff, lots of staff, then health and safety policies. But we can help with all of that. There's a lot of free information online on hsc.gov.uk as well. Instead of paying huge fees for a health and safety consultant to produce all of that for you, the information's out there. Just need to know where to look.
Yeah.
And the great thing about what we do is a business can change very quickly overnight. And if there is a huge party that's been booked, or there's some different equipment that's not already been discussed, we can make changes throughout the year at any point without you incurring any broker fees. And if there's any change to the premium, then that's just an organic change. But we're there to actually deal with the changes as and when they occur.
Yeah, and that was massive for us.
Yeah,
because when we
that's
were
right.
growing
I remember
and we
this.
were adding new stuff, and
yeah.
that, I think that's why I came to you in the
That's
first
right,
place.
yeah.
Because our initial insurance company was
I
like, oh, if you
remember
want
this.
to add that, then you need to take a whole new insurance policy.
Yeah.
But we'd only just started our old one, and they wanted us to pay the whole old one.
That's right.
And then start.
That's right.
And I was like,
Yeah.
this is great.
I know.
Surely there's a better way to do this.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So
Definitely.
yeah, that's
because that's frustrating as well as a
so
business owner
annoying.
having to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think when we'd just taken out that new insurance, we were maybe a month and a half in.
Yeah, I remember this.
And
Yeah,
I'm like, I just cannot believe that
Yeah.
they want me to pay the rest of the year.
exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
it's getting me annoyed about just thinking about it.
Have a sip of coffee.
So yeah,
Righty-ho.
it's so interesting chatting, I guess,
Yeah.
again about insurance, because it's one of those things that it feels like you pay it every month and you're like, oh, there goes another chunk of my money.
I know.
But that's
I
the other
know.
key thing though. You can pay it monthly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not even that
yes,
expensive.
that's right. I forgot to mention
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
You can just split the cost over 10 months. There is a direct debit charge that can't be avoided, but that depends on what the overall premium is.
Mm-hmm.
But we deal with all of that according to each individual client and what their needs are.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely helps to spread the cost.
Yeah. 25 quid a month. It's
Yeah.
nothing, is it?
No. Just for that peace of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super interesting.
Yeah.
Well, so as a kid,
Yeah.
we ask everyone this. What was your most memorable birthday party? Do you have one?
I knew you were gonna ask me that. Right, okay. You're gonna laugh, but I can only give you the honest answer. We didn't have a lot of money growing up. My parents worked really, really hard. My dad was a prison officer.
Okay.
And my mum was a sewing machinist. And I'm one of 5 daughters.
Okay,
So
wow.
big family. There were 7 of
Oldest,
us.
youngest?
I am the second youngest.
Second youngest.
Yeah, the
Right.
cheekiest one.
That's right.
Yeah. And so, yeah, there wasn't a huge amount of money to go around, but my mum and dad did a great job raising us. So when we had our birthdays, my birthday is quite close, within a few days of my younger sister and my second elder sister.
Okay.
So the 3 of us used to have one party, just one single party with one birthday cake. And we'd maybe have a few friends over, maybe have some family over. But then this one year, all of us got an individual birthday cake. And that was exciting. That was memorable for all 3 of us because one of my parents came in with a birthday cake, and then we thought, that's great, we've got a birthday cake, let's eat it and let's have some fun. And it was great. But then all of a sudden my mum came in with another birthday cake, and then my big sister came in with another, and that was amazing. And I think for us it was a big deal. It may not sound like it now, people listening to this might think, what the hell? But honestly, it was a big deal, and it's the honest answer. So
No, that's so great.
you can cut that out if you want. You think, what the hell? 3 birthday cakes, is that it?
No, but there you go. Times have changed, though.
Times have changed.
Yeah, that's it. It's, even 20, 30 years ago, birthday parties just
Absolutely.
maybe weren't that big a thing.
No.
But
No.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Savinda, thank you so much for coming to
It's
hang
been
out with
great
us and
fun.
chat.
Thanks for having me, Alex.
And who'd have thought that insurance could be so fun?
It is. It definitely is. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's been great being here.
Love it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, that's all for today's episode of The People Behind the Party. Thanks for listening, and thank you to Satvinder for joining me today to share about the complex game of insurance and how they're set on bringing a personal touch to a somewhat complicated industry. Join us again soon as we will be meeting another person behind the party and finding out all about their business too. If you haven't checked out the Birthday Party Network yet, then I would encourage you to head on over where you can find a place jam-packed with loads of help for you to grow your own birthday party business. Speak soon.